It's 6:12 a.m. The house is quiet. The kids are gone. Work is almost done. And then you hear it. Drip. You walk into a bathroom you barely use now and see water spreading across the tile. And in that split second, retirement stops feeling like freedom and starts feeling like a spreadsheet. Not because you're broke, because you're still carrying a life that costs too much to maintain. Most retirement advice tells you what to buy, what to invest in, what account to open. But there's another side of the equation nobody wants to talk about. What you need to let go of strategically before it drains your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. So this video is about 5 things to sell before you retire. Not because you have to live small, but because you deserve to live lighter. Because retirement isn't just a money problem, it's a margin problem. And the happiest retirees, they aren't the ones with the most stuff. They're the ones with the most room to breathe. Let's start with the one that can change everything. The house. Not a house, your house. The one that used to fit your life perfectly and now quietly runs it. Back when it was full, it made sense. Bedrooms mattered, driveway space mattered, the yard made sense because you had bodies in motion. But then one day you realize you're heating and cooling rooms you don't walk into. You're cleaning corners that exist for guests who come twice a year. And every month you're paying property taxes, insurance, utilities, repairs, and maintenance for a building that's mostly holding memories. And here's the trap. You don't notice it at first. It's just adult life. Then one day you're retired, and instead of waking up and thinking, what do I want to do today? You wake up thinking, what does the house need? A roof doesn't care that you don't have a paycheck anymore. A water heater doesn't care that you're on a fixed income. A storm doesn't care that you plan to travel this year. A lot of people don't realize they've turned into house managers until it's too late. And this isn't about downsizing to prove a point. It's about right-sizing for the life you're actually about to live. Ask yourself one question that cuts through the emotion. If I didn't already own this house, would I buy it today at today's cost for the lifestyle I want in retirement? For some people, the answer is yes, and that's totally fine. But for a lot of people, the honest answer is no. And if the answer is no, it doesn't mean you failed. It means you're evolving. Sometimes the best move is smaller, say neighborhood. Sometimes it's a condo that trades the yard for your weekends back. Sometimes it's renting for a year so you can test a new city before you commit. And here's the part people don't want to admit out loud. Waiting too long often means the decision gets made for you, by your health, by the maintenance, by the costs, by the stress. Selling earlier gives you control. And control is a retirement superpower. Now the second thing. This one feels personal because it usually comes with pride. The expensive toy that's turned into an expensive burden. Boat, RV, classic car, motorcycle, four-wheeler, sports car. I worked my whole life for this. And you did. You earned it. But retirement changes the math in a way most people don't expect. When you're working, you can tolerate waste. You have income to cover the quiet leaks in your budget. In retirement, every recurring cost isn't just a payment, it's a runway. Insurance, storage, maintenance, registration, repairs that show up when zero warning, depreciation that doesn't stop just because you stopped commuting. The dream isn't the issue, the subscription is.
The most honest question you can ask is this. What does this cost me per day of actual enjoyment? Because if you take the RV out once a year, or you drive the sports car 5 times a summer, you might be paying an insane amount of money to maintain an identity more than an experience. And here's where people get stuck. They think selling it means giving up the dream. It doesn't. You can keep the dream and change the ownership model. Rent it, borrow it, use a service, buy used later if you miss it. Because in retirement, flexibility is often more valuable than ownership. And if you're emotionally attached, there's a middle path that works beautifully. Keep the one you truly love, sell the extras. Keep the joy without the burden. That alone can free up thousands per year and reduce stress you didn't even realize you were carrying. Now, the third one. This one is sneaky because it was sold as vacation security, but it often turns into vacation handcuffs. The timeshare. If you love your timeshare, you actually use it, and the fees are reasonable, fine. But many retirees hit a point where they realize something uncomfortable. They aren't paying for vacations, they're paying for obligations. Annual fees that increase, special assessments that show up out of nowhere, limited flexibility, and the worst part, when you want out, you find out getting out isn't simple. And that's where people get hurt, because scammers prey on frustrated owners. They call you, act confident, promise they already have a buyer, and then they ask for upfront money. And you need to remember this: if they get paid before you get results, they win even if you lose. So if you own a timeshare and you're nearing retirement, don't wait until you're desperate. Start early. Explore legitimate exit options. Be cautious. Get help from professionals who aren't paid based on upfront promises. Because retirement is supposed to expand your options, not lock you into 1 week in one place forever. Now, the fourth thing is less dramatic, but it's one of the cleanest wins out there. The extra vehicle you don't actually need anymore. When you're working, 2 cars make sense. 2 commutes, 2 schedules, 2 lives running in parallel. But retirement changes your daily rhythm, and a second car becomes something you keep just in case. But just in case can cost a lot. Insurance, registration, maintenance, depreciation, even if it mostly sits there. And here's what's funny. Most couples don't realize how easy it is to go down to 1 car until they try. So don't make it a permanent decision first. Make it a test. For 60 days, live like you only have 1. Coordinate errands, plan ahead, use delivery once in a while. Rent a car for a specific trip if you need it. If it's miserable, you learn something. But if it's fine, and for many couples it is, you just found a way to reduce bills without reducing joy. Because you're not losing mobility, you're losing waste. Now, the fifth thing. This is the one nobody wants to touch because it feels like love. Financially rescuing adult children. Let's say this carefully. Helping your kids is not wrong, but sacrificing your retirement security to do it is dangerous. Because you can't borrow your way through retirement. There are loans for college, loans for houses, loans for cars. There are no loans for being 78 and running out of money. And the hard truth is this: your kids have time. They have decades to recover, to build, to learn, to adjust. You don't get to redo your early retirement years. If you're postponing retirement, pulling from retirement accounts, or taking on debt so your adult kids can maintain a lifestyle they can't afford, you're not helping them. You're absorbing consequences that we're supposed to teach them.
The healthiest version of help usually has boundaries. A one-time gift, not an endless monthly transfer. A defined limit, not an open tab. Support that increases independence, not dependence. And if you're thinking, but I don't want them to struggle, remember, struggle is often where skills are built. And you can still be loving while being firm. Now, here's the part where people mess up. They hear a list like this and think, so I'm supposed to sell everything and sit in an empty room and never spend money again? No, that's not the point. Retirement is not deprivation. It's optimization. It's making room for what matters most by letting go of what no longer fits. So how do you decide what to sell and what to keep? 3 questions. First, does this serve my new life or my old life? If it only makes sense because of who you used to be, it might not deserve a monthly bill today. Second, what is the real cost? Not what you paid for it, what it costs you now. Money, time, stress, attention, energy, space. Third, if I let this go, what becomes possible? More travel, more security, more generosity, more peace, more spontaneity, more sleep? And if you're still unsure, here's the simplest tool in the world. Live like it's already gone for 60 to 90 days. If you don't miss it, you have your answer. If you do miss it, you also have your answer. But you'll be deciding from reality, not fear. Because in retirement, your most valuable assets aren't your accounts. They're your time, your health, your attention, and your peace of mind. And the goal isn't to die with the most stuff. It's to live with the most freedom. Sell the things that keep billing you for a life you're done living. Keep the things that create real joy. And step into retirement the way it was supposed to feel. Not like a maintenance schedule, like a new beginning.